Well, welcome, Ani Avedissian. I'm so happy to be here with you today. Raised in a safe house in England and trained by the shadow establishment, she now fights against the dark forces that are out there. Ani's approach to metaphysics is a refreshing change from the well-worn platitude of New Age literature. Her primary objective is to promote social awareness with regard to the establishment's relentless campaign of perceptual engineering and to clarify and share information and spiritual knowledge appropriate for today's busy, noisy, and fractured world. Welcome, Ani.
Thank you,
Well,
Petra.
we have a lot to talk about today. So many things are going on, and I thought I start with your questions of what's the main topic or message you want to share today. And obviously, we've seen quite some turmoil in the last few days. So I'm
Yeah,
just gonna go quiet and let you share your message for the new year.
sure, sure. You know, the reason people are so confused and acting like blithering idiots right now, with seemingly the world going crazy about them, is because I think we've all been taught to live in these tiny little worlds and tiny little minds. We become so very, very insular. We have forgotten that we are part of a greater whole. We've forgotten that we all stem from the same cosmic energy. But then we all go on to have these individualized incarnations on various different planets all over the cosmos. And we do it for the expansion of consciousness, which is supposed to bring forth the vibration of joy, which is the natural segue from the vibration of creation, which is what we call unconditional love, because we don't quite really understand what that is, or at least it hasn't been explained properly. So my job, I mean, all of that in the introduction is true.
Hmm.
Because you can't really get away with lying about things like that. you know, I really, I really was raised in a safe house. I really was trained. I come from a shaman bloodline, a legitimate shaman bloodline from the Near East, but I really was trained by the shadow government. And what that means is that I'm very good at my job because I have learnt both sides of the coin as to what can happen when you follow the force, that great force that we call God or source. You know, people are so fractured in their own minds with their indoctrination of religion, of school, of all the little labels of our tribes, etc. And we're seeing that right now. We're seeing ridiculous things happen, insanity happen on this planet. And all of it is because, left to our own devices, mankind is geared for cooperation, not for conflict.
Hmm.
This ego that we talk about is a necessary identity that an individualized cosmic energy has to adopt on whatever realm it chooses to incarnate.
Hmm.
It's an identity. We need it. You can't say, well, you can't have an ego. The problem with this particular planet, and I'll just confine it to this planet so I don't have delusions of grandeur, I'll just talk about mankind, humankind.
Hmm.
The problem with us is that our ego has been hacked. And I could go and I could talk about reptilian software and all of that, but I probably won't today. But we have been hacked. And the hacking is really mind control through things like media, repetition of things that go against the metaphysical tenets. Over and over again, we keep getting divided and separated and conquered and wash and rinse and repeat. And somehow or another, our innate nature should be able to stand up and go, as a sovereign being, this is all cow cucker. We shouldn't be listening to any of this. It doesn't feel right. But somehow or another, everybody gets into line and goes along with what the next thing is. I
Well,
mean,
is it because the programming has been going on for so long?
The programming has been going on for very, very long, but yes, there's no doubt about that. But the problem is this: the people that are supposed to be the spiritual caretakers of this planet, the people with their religions who all espouse the same core values for the most part, are not helping. They are contributing to the division. It's akin to healthcare in America today, where they don't want to cure you. They want to manage a condition that will give you 7 other side effects, for which they then have fake vaccinations and other medications for.
Mm-hmm.
And that is exactly what all the religious leaders are doing. They are not helping. If they want to help mankind ascend, they should listen to the words of wise people like Emmanuel, Jesus Christ, who said, I'm going to paraphrase because I don't speak Aramaic, right? You don't need all this BS. Pray directly to your Father. Da-da! It's called self-realization, which I know that you understand. So that's my goal, is to gently spread awareness. Okay, I'm not a very gentle person. My goal is to spread awareness and gently nudge people with my boot up their arse, gently nudge people into some sort of common sense, back into objectivity, because nobody needs religion.
Yeah.
You have to accept that there is a supreme consciousness out there that is so vast, so great, so magnificent. We couldn't possibly have language on this planet to describe it. But it's there, even if we can't properly define it. And we figured out this much. We figured out that if we work in harmony with that, everything goes well. And if we don't work in harmony with that, everything goes batshit bonkers. So, very simple. My message to mankind: turn off the television, step away for a while, and take a look at yourself in the mirror and start with the very simple question of, I'm created by this supreme cosmic intelligence, which I assume doesn't create imperfect beings. So how did I get to where I am now? Who am I really? And why did I choose to come here? And what is the pure core purpose of my existence? And then you have to be comfortable with taking time to get to those answers, because you have to go through all the parts of yourself that you embedded and buried and stuffed down that are now preventing you from seeing clearly. All we need is clarity, common sense, and then we have cooperation. So that was a very short answer to your very short question.
For those of you, for those of the audience that haven't met you before, how on earth did you get to a safe house at such a young age, and where was that?
It wasn't a problem because my father owned it. My father had a hotel in Bayswater. I don't think it's necessary to give the exact address. It is totally researchable. But he had a hotel in Bayswater, 2 of those nice large Victorian English buildings, terraced, stuck together, West Central London. And I mean, the short version of it is my father was a brilliant shaman, a brilliant demonologist, and a man of great wisdom, terribly tortured because he was compromised by the British government to work for them. So they picked him up in Cyprus, where he was born, and where I was born, actually, on the island of Cyprus. It's also the birthplace of Aphrodite. I think probably the resemblance is, quite striking. So they said to my father in abbreviated terms, look, mate, we're onto you. You're fighting against the British government, because Cyprus was a British colony. Okay. So, but you've got some skills that we could use. If you put those skills at our disposal, we can give you a great life. But you've got to run this hotel. And it's going to be a hotel, like tourists can come. But it's also going to be a safe house, because it was 2 buildings, actually 3. We had one a block behind as well. It's going to be a safe house for various British intelligence services, and all sorts of interesting people are going to come through there. And your job is to look after them, keep them safe.
Mm.
And oh, one other thing. We understand you're getting married. You're going to have a child. We want the child. And I'm the child because the firstborn in the shaman line.
That reminds me of some of the Brothers Grimm fairy tales.
Well, I won't lie. I didn't I didn't have a good childhood.
Oh.
Um, I wouldn't want to go through it again. The parts of it I remember. I wouldn't want to go through it again. But the training was superlative.
Mm.
I understand who runs the world, how it's run, why they do it, and why they will never, ever give up the agenda to keep us separated, because they will lose this planet, which is essentially a franchise of the reptilian empire.
So
One,
who runs the world?
one part of the reptilian empire. There's a lot of good reptiles out there, by the way. Nice little
Oh,
lizards.
nice little lizards.
Mhm.
So who runs the world?
The actual machinery of it is, we call it the deep state machinery, and it's all of the organizations that we have in place. But the controller of the world is off world. The controller of the world is off world.
Hmm.
And you have managing directors, CEOs. You have the upper echelon of the Illuminati families. And then you have the 300 families that serve them. And then they've taken over every organization that we deal with on a daily basis. And if anybody doubted that corruption is deep and has gone to grassroots level, all you have to do is take a look at America today and all of the corruption that we're exposing through what was essentially a socialist democrat, a liberal takeover. Because you anytime you have to bring that ideology in, it has to come in through the false veneer of liberalism, that everybody thinks it's all fluffy and lovely and whatever.
Mm.
So it's not a group of men in a wood paneled room drinking $200 bottles of scotch. There are men in dark paneled rooms who drink $200 bottles of scotch, who make very big decisions. But it's not one organization. It's an off-worlder with their mentality. This planet has been franchised, and then they have installed humans to serve them. And they have promised these humans that they will have a wonderful life, no matter what happens to the rest of us.
So it's like the movie The Matrix.
The Matrix is a very good movie.
Mm.
Very clever. I'm surprised anybody allowed that to be made.
Was a teaser for those of
Yeah.
us that want to know who really runs the show.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And people have a problem with the ending of it, when he's like, you mean I've done this before? So what was the point? Well, you worked it out a lot quicker this time.
Ooh, that hurts.
Yeah, it's
That hurts.
painful. It's
So,
painful.
where are we going now? In your opinion, what's going to happen next in terms of, shadow government, Illuminati? Where are we heading?
Well, I'll go ahead and just be very positive to begin with and just say I
Oh.
genuinely believe that in the continuum we have already defeated all of this. But
Mm.
where we're going is a couple of things. The deep state machinery is never going to give up, ever. You see, because they're terrified of their overlords. Whereas if they were to come over to our side, as many whistleblowers are, if they were to come over to our side and just say, look, I really made a mistake. I succumbed to greed and lust and all of that. Then not only would it be useful for the planet's evolution, even if we executed them for treasonous stuff, their souls are in a much better position for what I call spiritual recycling. you
Mhm.
know. So they're not going to give up. So I think what you're going to see, the white hats, like the good guys, who are fighting them day in, day out, they know they're never going to give up. And they also know that a time is coming where we are going to have to selectively just take a lot of people out, because they are never going to stop trying to damage planet Earth and never going to stop trying to damage the collective psyche of mankind. So for 2026, you're going to see a lot of backwards and forwards. You're going to see a lot of George Floyd replays, like the one in Minnesota that's
Yeah,
happening now.
yeah.
You're going to see a lot of that coming backwards and forwards. But by the end of the year, the exposure of the corruption is going to be at such a level that you really you have to make a decision not to look at truth, not to have figured it out. We're
Mm-hmm.
going to lose a lot of the members of the population.
Mm.
We're going to lose some. Unfortunately, we keep losing a lot because they took a certain protocol that they were warned not to take. And that's going to continue to kill people off for another 5, 10, 15, 20 years. You're
Mm-hmm.
going to lose a lot of people to insanity because they're not going to be able to come to terms with the fact that they were so flawed in their worldview.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And they're just literally going to walk out in front of a bus one day because, you need a way off the planet if you don't have a spaceship, right? So they're going to have to find a way to die.
Yeah.
We're going to have a lot of turmoil in 2026. And in 2027, by about the summer of 2027, if all of my remote views and all of the calculations of old and all come through, we will be in stunned silence. There'll be a period in early 2027, we will be in stunned silence. And it reminds me of when a big battle is over and, everyone's dead or gone home. And then whoever's left is just looking around and going, was this really necessary?
Mm-hmm.
And then as we extricate, and America's very important. America has a sacred purpose to unite the world and take it away from religion into secular spirituality. After we go through the next round of Muslims and Christians and the Crusades and all of that rubbish that has to keep playing itself out. But America is the place that's going to start extricating itself from world organizations. Because things like United Nations, World Health Organization, that's all New World Order. They want us to be robots.
Yeah.
Their goal in the end is to have us transhuman, post-human, and this planet is designated to be a rest and retreat area for those Draco reptilians. So they want us to be the service staff. I mean, if you take a look at why they're chemtrailing and why they're poisoning everything and why they're eating up they're terraforming this planet for a different species. And so we as humans couldn't live on it. So they have to change our biology so that we can be docile servants for them.
Mm-hmm.
And 10 years ago, even 10 years ago, this would have sounded so far-fetched to people. But now people are just nodding their heads and going, it kind of makes sense.
Well, I remember when I first saw David Icke on TV in England, what was that, 30, 40 years
40
ago?
years ago.
And people were throwing eggs and tomatoes at him. So, and something rang so true of what he was saying. And so I'm not surprised when you speak of this. So, tell me about the reptilians, like the groups of reptilians that are running the show, that sort of are the nicer types, and then the types that are really dark.
Well, like all species,
Yeah.
look at all of us humans, how different we all are all over the world. Look at the Palladians, they're all different.
Hmm.
Most of us are Palladians, but they're all different. So with the reptilians, again, they're all different. And there is actually a reptilian renaissance going on, has been going on for quite a while in most of the reptilian homeworlds, where they want to have less of a military persona. And, they want to be a little bit more touchy-feely. But one of the factions of the Dracos, they're like the orcs in the computer games. They're all about strength and honor and domination.
Hmm.
Even the women are masculine. It's a very, very masculine dominating culture. And the reason they're here in the first place, really, they're from a different universe. They're not from this universe.
Mm.
Way back in antiquity, we did have life forms here, even though our history tells us in antiquity we didn't. But there was an exchange program between the gods of the two of the universes, because each universe has its god. and then there's source energy, right? So the reptilians genuinely wanted to come and have more of a humanoid experience and learn to be a bit more touchy-feely. And also they thought that this would help them with international, intergalactic diplomatic relationships. And the humans wanted to learn a little bit more. And I'm not talking about just this planet, by the way, but the humans wanted to learn a little bit more about how to be stronger, how to be a little bit more aggressive, and how to fight better. Yeah. So an exchange happened, and there was a certain amount of years, 100 years, 200 years, I honestly don't remember, that the humans would go to that universe and learn, and then the reptilians would come to this universe and learn. And then when they learnt, they would go back home. The humans came back home. The reptilians, only half of them went back home. The other half decided that we were soft people and very easy to conquer, and that they would put in a very, very long-term plan to own this planet. And if you look at some of the ancient stuff, some of the Sumerian clays, etc., some of those features are not human. But they endeared themselves to the humans because of their technological abilities and their mental acuity. Reptilians have huge IQs, and they have massive chakra systems. Their chakra systems, just based on their mental acuity, expands awareness, and they look the same as a human in deep meditation.
So where are they? Are they in inner Earth?
No, they're all over the place. They don't like inner Earth particularly, although they do have pockets. There are portals that lead not to inner Earth, not to Telos, not to the civil. They wouldn't do well there. That's a very loving, gentle, vegetarian, sort of vibration down there. They have made portals where they have made pockets in the earth that they can have as rest and recreation areas. Mm-hmm. But the vast majority, they don't necessarily live here anymore. They don't need to. Mm-hmm. That's the deep state ideology. That's what they've left behind. Mm-hmm. Like, think of any conquering army. He didn't, the Persians or whatever, the Spartans, when they defended themselves against them. These people like Darius, they conquer many, many worlds. Alexander, they conquer many, many worlds. Well, they can't deplete their army by leaving chunks of their army there. So they take over the ruling class. They take over the feudal lords, etc., whoever's in charge, and say, look, you're special. Everybody else is an idiot. Represent us. We will take really good care of you and rule in our name. And now you're a king. That's how it happens.
So in other words, they're sort of going back and forth from different dimensions.
Yes, actually they are. They are able to operate within their own gravitational fields, as do their ships, which is why they can come and go so quickly.
And so they can also go in and out of bodies, human bodies.
They can. Mm-hmm. They can shapeshift too.
I have seen that before.
Yeah.
When I was living in the ashram, I saw that. Yeah.
It's kind of flippy the first time you see it.
Very freaky. Yeah, I was definitely scared.
Yeah.
I didn't expect it.
I don't want people to think they're walking around and their next door neighbor's suddenly going to be a reptile. You know what I mean? That's not how it is. They have given their machinery, their ideology. And the humans who succumbed to greed carried it over. And unfortunately, there gets a point where you can't turn back. It's a shame.
So what's your opinion now in the next, just to give people some ideas, I mean, with Venezuela and what's going on in Iran right now, what do you think? What's your feeling about that?
This is a direct result of the American white hats pushing incrementally, daily to promote awareness. The awareness that we're promoting here is the corruption. The people are stealing from you and you're allowing it. And we're seeing people here defend criminals and try to attack police officers who are protecting American citizens from criminals. It's absolutely insanity. But because we keep pushing, the rest of the world is listening. And the revolution in Iran was just a matter of time, because the Iranians aren't really Muslim. There was Zoroaster, and they weren't even Iranians. They're Parsi people. They
Yeah.
invited a bunch of Muslims into their country out of the goodness of their hearts. And look what happened. It took over. It took over as an ideology. And it imposed this horrific thing, this Luciferian ideology called Sharia law on people. We are marching to a new golden age of peace and prosperity. That is a self-realized society. A self-realized society is a sovereign society. So sovereignty is the key word, and that word is buzzing all over the world. So what we're seeing in Iran, or what we're not seeing in Iran, because nobody's showing it, but what's really happening there is massive. It's massive. It is no easy thing to take off your veil when you know that you can be hanged for it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but it's happening.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing's happening in England.
Mm-hmm.
Things are happening in Germany. Things are happening in all the European countries where they have used third world Islam as a population replacement. It was always the plan. Since I was 10 years old, I've known this. It was always the plan to bring in an incompatible culture to destroy the ethnicity of all the countries one by one. And that way we would just call it England, European Union Region 1, specialty fish and chips. Germany,
Yeah.
European Union number 2, specialty, Rouladen, Sauerbraten. You know, it's like it's bringing it down to a homogenous population of humans who will serve their reptilian overlords. Okay, that's the plan. Is it going to happen? Of course not. Of course not. Because we are not, we are, we are geared for cooperation, not conflict. So I would ask each and every person, if they say, what's going to happen? What's going to happen is what you make happen. All of this is, yes, because we didn't pay attention to our core spiritual values. Yes. But let's take it to a very practical level. All of this happened because you didn't show up to your local government meetings. You didn't show up to your city council meetings. You didn't show up to your school board, who was bringing in dragsters to parade their penises in front of your children. You know, there's nothing wrong with penises. There's a time and a place for that sort of thing, right? School isn't the time or the place for that. So this is all happening because we are not challenging at local level, at state level, at federal level. This is all happening because they brought in that horrible, evil thing called political correctness, which is designed to stop you from talking. And if you stop talking, you eventually stop thinking. So all of this DEI, this equality thing, right, that's come in, I want people to connect the dots. It's all part of the same agenda. People are not equal. Because you know what equal means? It means the same. We're not the same.
Right.
I'm not the same as you, and men and women are not the same. They're equal they're equal in so much as they all vibrate to the same love of God. We're equal in so much as we are all unblemished cosmic potential expressing at our core, but we're not the same. Physical lands need contrast to maintain balance. So all of these things like DEI, political correctness, they stand against God's laws. Or let me put it a less romantic way. They stand against the core metaphysical tenets that are present in natural law. So get out there and get involved in some level. That's all it takes. And speak out against things that hurt your heart. And please speak out against anything that damages or seeks to destroy America. Because if America goes, this planet is lost.
Woo.
And yet I'm positive because I know it's all gonna work out.
Yeah.
And even though there's probably less than 15% of us who are actually awake and aware and understand what happens and what's going on.
So you said that so many souls are going to leave the planet, not just based on, what happened in 2000, but is that due to Earth changes as well that you see coming?
You got to understand every single thing is changing. Now, when you're talking about earth changes, are you talking about geopathic stress and you're talking about earthquakes and floods and that sort of thing?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
We're seeing it, but most of
Mhm.
it is man-made. Okay.
Ah,
Most of what we're seeing is man-made. And if you really sit down and take a look at that, there's a very good reason for saying that. However, Mother Earth is going to need to shed some of her whatever
heaviness.
it is that we've done. Yeah, she's going to have a little pressure cooker session.
Mm-hmm.
I do not see, like 15 years ago, I saw catastrophic floods and I saw earthquakes, and I thought, oh my God, go to Idaho, buy bedrock, live in a tent,
Yeah.
all of that.
Mm-hmm.
I really don't see that now.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see that now because Mother Earth knows full well that we as a race did not reach the critical mass necessary to deserve, mathematically, not emotionally, to deserve our ascension into a higher dimension.
Mm-hmm.
Because we're not. People say, well, I understand what's going on. I'm MAGA. You can be a Republican and not know shit. All you know is I like Trump. That doesn't make you awake and aware. So we're nowhere near the critical mass. So a conversation had to be had between God and source energy as to what to do. Do we take the 15? Mathematically, what should happen? Floods, deluge, ice age.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody on this planet goes to heaven, to nirvana, because there's nowhere else to go initially. And
Mm-hmm.
then there you're processed and you will go to another planet that matches your level of awareness. And so that would have meant that 85% of people on Earth would be taken in their next incarnation to another planet that's 3D, that's about to go through what we have already gone through since 1960. And
Mm-hmm.
that's a really wearying thought. So there are two reasons why that didn't happen and why we were given the grace, according to my understanding, is that number one, why should Mother Earth herself die? She has gone through so much and she has hosted us with such empathy, grace, compassion, and fortitude, even though we're a bunch of a-holes. She has done it. And she deserves to live and she wants to live.
Mm-hmm.
The other part is, I think it was noted, the valor and the commitment of white hats in general to doing the right thing for the right reason and choosing that as a hill to die on.
Mm-hmm.
All of that was taken into consideration. And I'll just call it grace. The grace was given that we would have all the help we need. Now, had we reached maybe 50% critical mass, this would all be over now. The reason it's taking so long is because crazy people are defending the people that are hurting the world by trying to kill the people who are saving the world. That is called a Luciferian inversion or insanity, mental health issue.
So who are the white hats?
The white hats are all the people who understood after JFK died that this planet was about to be taken over by a financial establishment. And so today's white hats in the prominent, you get Team Trump. Okay, Team Trump, Hexeth, Miller, all the jury's still out with me on Pam Bondi. I don't know what she's up to, but Tulsi Gabbard, all the lot, Stephen Miller, all the people that are in this administration, knowing that they're going to be hated by most of the people because they don't know what's going on. Those are the white hats. The people in the military, there are white hats in the military. I'd like to say there's a small handful left in politics in Congress. I think maybe there's 3 people. I don't know. So
Mm,
a white hat is someone who understands that the restoration of the American Republic is paramount to the survival of this earth, and that they want good to succeed over evil. White hats are people that understand sovereignty, that is the only thing that will make this planet thrive, is an accountable, sovereign society.
mhm.
I mean, you're a white hat in your own way. I'm a white hat in my own way. We may not be in the front lines,
Mhm.
you know, but I don't know about you. I get my fair share of hate mail.
Ah,
You know, I get text messages from
I think
irate
I think,
Muslims.
Arnie, you're a little bit more verbal than I am.
Well, I am verbose. I'll give you that. I mean,
But I do think that I blew my brother's mind today when I sent him a new release of Elizabeth April on a remote viewing that she did this morning. I have to
did
send
he,
it
did
to
he
you.
enjoy it?
Oh, I think it yeah, it threw him a little bit over the edge.
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah. I mean,
But it's
people should
good.
be disturbed.
It's good
It's
to.
if you're asleep and you
Hmm.
suddenly wake up, it's not a dream, is it? You're in the middle of a
Hmm.
nightmare.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't want to be asleep and be caught in this earth right now, not understanding all of these things that are going on in the background. I wouldn't want to be here.
Yeah, and
I
and
would
and
not
that's
want
what
to
we're
be.
seeing.
Mm,
I would just say to people, don't be afraid to ask questions. Don't be afraid to be wrong.
mm-hmm,
We've all been wrong about things, and we will be again till the
mm-hmm,
day we die. You
hmm.
know, don't be ashamed because as a formal perceptual engineer who did a fantastic job, apparently, dumbing down the world, you know, billions of dollars were poured into keeping you distracted from your core spirituality. The greatest minds in the world, not mine. I was one of the little psychic grunts, but the greatest minds in the world,
Mm,
philosophers, mathematicians, especially the best clinical psychologists, were put. They had one job to make sure that you were so distracted and so entertained that you wouldn't realize one day when you woke up with no thought process and you were a complete automaton.
mm-hmm,
So if you wake up from that, it doesn't matter if you're 7 years old, 17, 70, or 107 when you wake up. The day you wake up is the day that incarnation becomes important. And that's the day that you bring in, just by accepting that you've woken up. You bring in so much Christ light into this planet. It's like you're walking around in a golden beam, an oasis of light. So don't beat yourselves up. Congratulate yourselves for asking the question and
mm.
then helping us to fix this problem.
So how are you protecting yourself?
I don't have a sense of protection because that implies threat perception.
Mm,
So, my okay, the reason I teach things a little bit differently, I'm very direct and to the point. There are no fancy frills or pretense of luxury with me. Okay, there are
mm,
no fripperies, just facts. There is one thing and one thing only to focus on in an earthly incarnation, to have a productive, happy, fulfilling life. Are you in alignment with the force that created you? Or are you in misalignment with the force that created you? There is no other question to ask. Because if you're in alignment, then everything makes sense. You're objective, you're cool, you're calm. You receive information, you analyze it, you understand it. And there's no resistance, there's only acceptance. If you're in misalignment, then you get in your car and try to knock over an ICE officer. The choice is very simple in my mind.
yeah. Well, so what is your message now for the new year for anyone who hears this for the first time? What's your message to meditate, to, spend more time in nature, turn off the media, put your phone down?
All
What
of
is
those
your
things are
message?
good things. All of
Mm-hmm.
those things are good things. My message to people is number one, be happy. First of all, you have one choice to make every morning, and that's to be in a good mood. And it doesn't matter if people are dying around you. It doesn't matter what's going on around you. It doesn't mean you have to come down to that vibration. So number one, wake up every morning and say to yourself, I'm operating in the timeline that is the most convenient for my health, wealth, and general well-being. I'm
Mm-hmm.
going to be in a good mood today, come what may. And that will guide your day. The other thing is be happy because you are incarnate on a planet that is moving from 3D to 4D.
Mm-hmm.
You are at a point in a planet's evolution that we are moving towards the understanding of what a self-realized society could look like. It's very rare to have an incarnation at such a time. I mean, the amount of experience, karmic brownie points we get from being here alone is massive. So rather than look at all the darkness, because the darkness is actually leaving, take your attention and look at all the monastic Christ light that is pouring in trillions of times higher than the little piddly darkness that we've wallowed in for so long that is now leaving. I would say stop watching television news until you can actually be objective about what they're talking about, because 89% of it is bullshit. It's
Mm-hmm.
rubbish. They're lying, and
Mm-hmm.
then people are having debates about the lies.
And therefore getting caught in the
Right,
middle and in getting caught in the negativity of it.
right. Stop identifying as a Democrat or a Republican or a Libertarian or an Armenian or a German or whatever. All of those things are part of your identity, and that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
But stop acting as if that's all there is.
Mm.
Okay?
Yeah.
The words are accountability and sovereignty.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we've been taught to delegate everything to other people, to give our children to school, and then they come back and they go, "Oh, Daddy, I know my name's Jim, but I want to cut off my penis and be a girl called Ethel." This is what happens when you don't pay attention to the school boards and what they're doing to your children. This is what happens when you're not sovereign. Now people are delegating their salvation. Oh, let's see what happens. Let's see what happens. No, you get out there and make something happen. Pick what you're good at.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe the only thing you're good at doing is writing a poem. Write a poem about what's going on and put it out there. Maybe you're good at memes. Maybe you're articulate and you could actually help on a school board. Maybe whatever it is that you do, first and foremost, look at yourself in the mirror, get aligned with the force.
Mm-hmm.
That's all you have to do. Everything else falls away after that,
Mm-hmm.
and you have clarity. So put all your focus in that and really make a commitment to be happy, because this is a ridiculously exciting time to be alive. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, I can hardly get to sleep at night because I'm thinking when I wake up tomorrow morning, what will we have done? You know, I almost want to stay up all night on all the international channels and, see who's military extricated who. Yeah. Just slim it down. Keep it
Mm.
simple.
Mhm.
They're trying to confuse you with all this. It's a war of misinformation. Everyone's lying all the time on both
Mhm.
sides about everything.
Mhm.
The only thing that isn't a lie is when Trump said, I will never let you down and I will keep all my
Yeah, I
promises.
also
Mhm.
I also heard that there's a lot of human trafficking that flowed through Venezuela that's going to come out here pretty soon.
Venezuela,
Mm.
I think I might want to talk about this on my next podcast. Venezuela is the hub of so many operations,
Yeah,
so many operations.
yeah,
It'll all come out soon. Maduro wanted to be extracted.
yeah. And he wanted to actually leave, but they didn't let him.
No, he was a bus driver.
Yeah,
And his wife, Celia Flores, my God, what a piece of work she is. So, I mean, he was just a big teddy bear bus driver.
yeah.
And when he got up, Trump, come get me, he's like, por favor, mi amigo, save me from my own cartel. They're going to kill me.
Yeah,
President of Colombia is doing the same thing.
yeah. Well, that's why he had all these Cubans protecting him.
Yeah.
So,
RIP.
mhm. Very interesting.
Yeah.
It's gonna be an interesting journey as we move forward, no doubt.
Interesting and exciting.
Interesting and exciting. Happy New Year to all of
Happy New
you.
Year.
Ani,
Yes.
how do people get a hold of you?
Aniavedissian.com is my
You
website.
wanna spell it, but I'll put it in the notes,
Sure.
of course, on this.
ANIAVEDISSIAN.com. Or you can go to Rumble and you can listen to my podcasts, Metaphysical Martini, an eclectic mix of all sorts of things, and a lovely cocktail at the end. So, get a little bit tiddly during the show. Go to my Substack, Ani Avedissian's Substack, and I, I sort of have set myself up to be an archivist of current events through my street poetry.
Mhm.
And then, keep in touch because I do all sorts of classes throughout the year. I have a group called Ego Busters, which we meet twice a month,
Mhm.
and it's via Zoom. So I've got people all over the world now, all over the world, New Zealand, Australia. It's wonderful. And we discuss ego programming and what it has done for us and how we can overcome it. It's very casual group, but we come to some very profound truths in there. So just go to my website and just drop me a line. Let me know what you're interested in.
Fantastic. Thank you so much
Pleasure.
for being on the show today.
Thank you. Thank you for having
Well,
me.
I wish you all a happy New Year. Take good care of yourself, and we'll see you in the next show. Ciao, ciao.